time was he was very serious. I tried to like joke around with him, and he was, he wasn't laughing. I was like, okay.
She thought it was cute.
No, I did not. But I did think he was very serious, and I didn't think I was his type at all.
Well, mine, I thought she was considerate. I mean, she looked like one of those pretty girls from high school that, I have everything. That's what I thought, honestly. Can we talk about it? Oh, yeah. Yes, we can talk about it.
What?
Well, no, you start.
Again, I don't think that I can go back to a date and time, but I can pinpoint 2 times. I think if you are married and the first year you didn't question if you should have been married to this person, like, you're on another planet. I think every marriage, especially the first year, go through a phase where they're like, what did I do? I went through a lot of changes. I moved across the country, left my entire family, my life, to marry this, to live a new life with this man. Not only that, but, and to interact with people that I had never interacted, and I never felt appreciated for what I did. I felt like it was like, all right, stick it, like, you need to be like, suck it in and move forward. And I was constantly had the feeling of just being unappreciated. And so I think I bottled that up for a long time. And then, we moved into our first place, got pregnant, had the baby. And then when I found myself at home with the baby, and he would come home, and what he wanted to do was like have his own time. I was like a little puppy, like waiting for him to come home, and he was like not interested. So I think that time when I was like, okay, he's just not sensitive at all to my feelings or to my emotions. I'm a very emotional person, and it's okay. I mean, we all show our emotions differently. I just burst into tears, whether I'm happy, excited, sad, angry. It will just the way that I am, and he's not like that. So he saw that as a weakness, and he was like, you're immature. You need to. So I think in that moment, maybe I want to say 2-3 years into our marriage, I was like, this is not worth it. Having a child with this man is not going to make me stay with him. And I came to the point I was like, I don't want to help. I don't want anyone to come and tell me that I need to stay with you because this is what the Bible says. I want out. And so I think it was then that I kind of laid the cards on the table, and he was like, I don't even think he thought things were that bad. So.
Well, I didn't know how to react. That was the main issue. I grew up with a strong image of a woman. My mom, never saw her crying, or, I never saw that need. I thought it was like, okay, why is she crying? Can we get over it? Can she work that out? Can we work it out? But, I was not sensitive enough to understand the process of, being away from your family, a new lifestyle. She came from another state. So I didn't really know how to react, and it was that was one of the toughest, I can say. We were both. I was tired too, because I really thought I'd marry a child. I really thought that, and we were going through the process, I really thought, I truly believe I did a mistake.
I think I had to put my pride aside and my stubbornness, and I had to really make a decision. Was I really hanging the divorce card over his head for him to wake up, or did I really want out? So I had to sit down and really think, like, do I really want to not try this and move forward? So it was hard, but I had to put my pride aside because it was, it was just, I had to kind of say, okay, let me not, pinpoint all the wrong things that I see in him, but let me see what is actually worth. And so the first thing we did was we had to bring someone from outside of the two of us that listened and was kind of, biased, and told us, okay, this is where you're doing wrong. This is where you need to work on. And that was a big eye-awakening, apart from the At that moment, you know, we were going through a tough time with his family. So watching, you know, his mom and his dad spend their their last days together, and how much they were during those times, they didn't think about the fights they had, the times that they were annoying to each other. They kind of like, okay, let's live in the moment, because this is not going to go on forever. So all of the combination of that, really bringing a third person into the circle, not just anyone, someone that was not going to just stand on my side because they care about me more, or was going to stand on his side because they care about him more, but someone who genuinely wanted this to work. And so I think that was a big, big help, because we actually felt like we had someone kind of giving us that extra push. So that's how I think we overcame and express and sit down and talk through things, not just kind of bottling them up.
What I learned from that situation was that, you know, a man can be sensitive, not because you're going to be crying, you know, but you have to be more open to, you know, to comfort your spouse, you know, in a sense that she feels secure. And that, I didn't know that, you know, I didn't know. The only thing I knew was like, okay, I got to go to work, make money, supply. She was home. And I thought everything was right, you know, like we all do. Men, we all think that everything is right, but and your house is falling apart until, you know, you figured, you know, your spouse is totally different than you are. And I learned that, you know, through all this, I learned how to be more sensitive in a way that I can open up to understand her more than I used to. And, you know, put that macho thing on the side and kind of, you know, move on and just love the way she is, and you know, and just keep working on the issues that we still have, because we're not perfect yet, but we're pushing forward to the goal. The cooking, she knows how to cook. No. She's Mayra it's one of the kind. You know, she knows how to cook. She knows how to she knows how to
language.
she knows how to surprise me. On the other hand, I don't know. I mean, I just provide money for the house, I guess. But that's what I love about her, and she's very lovely. She likes to cuddle and hug, and I love that about her.
What I appreciate more is I can never have fear around him. We could be going through a very tough time, or I could be fearful of a situation, and he will never show me like that he's scared. And even if he is, he's a great encourager. And you know, it's funny, like the thing that's that seriousness, that like, okay, let's move forward area of him is actually something that I really appreciate now. That he's like, okay, we're not going to stay here, we're going to move forward. This is going to be okay. I really, really appreciate that. And he is so, he's so selfless now. So I really appreciate that. He really, really caters to my needs. And let me tell you, I'm very needy. So he really caters to my needs. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. I value it, because I've seen other people and they want it and they don't have it. So I'm really appreciative of that. Yep.
Jesus at the center. Well, Jesus obviously got to be the center of everything, but you know, you just got to make it work, man. You know, it's one of those things that marriage is it's a place where you will never understand. It's such a hard thing, but it's such a beautiful thing. It's such a nice thing, but it's such a, you know, stoning weight. I mean, it's a mix between, and God has a plan for marriage. Marriage is just a place where you learn every single day. There's no doubt about it.
I think what has helped us is to definitely not take things for granted. And we haven't arrived. We are definitely still on our way, but being intentional about, you know, spending time together, asking each other how we're doing, like how we really are doing. and just being very intentional. Because if you're not, the weight of, of life, the busyness will really catch up to you, and a year will go by and you're like, I don't even remember when was the last time you and I sat down. So you really have to be intentional, and you really have to get up every morning and make that decision that, you have to love your spouse. You might not like them all the time, but just being very intentional about every area of your marriage, whether it's communication, whether it's having date nights at home because you don't have, you can't go out, any area of your marriage, you just have to be intentional because life gets very busy. So I think that's something that has really helped us a lot. Yep.
Yes.
We will literally put our kids to bed, and we will put on a good movie, and some of the time we will like talk through the movie. We might not even pay attention, but yeah, we get it. You can't always go out to the finest restaurant, and who wants to when you can't even? You're focused on the food. You're actually there to spend time with your spouse, and just be silly. Just be silly.
We just buy 2 ice creams, sit down on the couch, and that's it.
And eat it, and we talk, and we laugh, and we are
Laugh.
silly.
That's really important.
Yeah, and so just kind of, life can get serious, and so kind of just let loose and be like, okay, this is not. It's very important to kind of just lay back and be silly together. Even like if you make fun of each other, in a fun, respectful way, of course, but that is one piece of advice. Again, intentional, and just, have fun with your spouse in all aspects, in all areas. Have fun.
I think God made us stages. I think stages are for the humanity, especially for couples, because like Lorette was saying, there's some times that you feel like, I feel like my wife is my friend, but it all takes mentality. You have to think about, what? Now that I feel my wife is my friend, let's take advantage of that. Let's laugh, let's do this. But at the end of the day, you got to choose, okay, she's my friend, but also don't forget that she's my wife, and just take the best out of every situation. I mean, there's no secret about, just try to make it work.
That's why I said
you're building a generations behind you. It's not all about you. Sometimes we think that, oh, it's my wife and I. No, we're building generations because my daughter's looking at what I'm doing, and what we're doing, and that's how they're gonna base their marriage into. My mom and my dad. Yes, they used to fight. They used to do this and that, but at the end of the day, they're still together. They're 80 years old and they're still together, So that's what matters. Mm-hmm. Make the best of every situation. It's not easy. No, it's not.
Yep.
So sometimes you have to be. Sometimes she feels like, oh, I want ice cream. It's 11 o'clock p.m. And guess what? You know what? I go and get it, even though I'm tired. And then we enjoy the.
Our relationship is centered around food a lot.
Well, I love food. And she's the best cook in the world. So what can I say?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we haven't arrived. We are still on our way. I don't think you ever arrive, but I do think you find that balance that works for you. And if sometimes you kind of fall off the rails, you can remember what happened and you can kind of pick yourself back up and align yourself again. So I say it's just a daily thing. Take it one day at a time, because if you kind of say, oh my goodness, what's going to happen next year? What's going to happen now? You'll just get caught up in all these things that haven't even come your way yet. So just take it one day at a time and just move forward. And I assure you that if you have fun and you live in the moment, obviously, you are conscious of the future, but it'll work. It'll work. Marriage is very beautiful. It's difficult, but it is so worth it. And even if people tell you that it's hard, it is. If people scare you with their honesty, appreciate it. Because there's a lot of things that I wish I would have known from people who were around me, that I now tell people, who are married, who are thinking about getting married. So appreciate that. Appreciate the honesty, but also appreciate the people around you. It is so important to have a circle that you can go to and you can let it out, and they'll laugh, but then they'll also tell you, this is where you're doing wrong, like this is not okay. But then you also realize that people go through a lot of similar things that you are. So it's so important to surround yourself with people that will really be honest with you. So I think it's very, very important. And that's something that I would always advise. Don't do it alone. It's just not. You can't do it. You know, yes, Christ is the center of our marriage, but that's why he has surrounded us with people.
Yeah.
And you know, we were not meant to be alone in this world, whether you're married or not. Two are always better than one. So I say that the more the merrier. Obviously be selective. Not everyone out there is going to have your best interests, but you'll find people. There's always people out there that want to be on you guys' team.
Let it out.
And let it out. Yes, that's true. I agree. So yeah, I say have fun, surround yourself with beautiful people, and I assure you that you will make it, and it is worth it.
Can I be honest?
Be honest. What do you like about
No,
being
I like everything. I like everything. I mean, you know, God created everything for the, you know, to enjoy it.
Be honest. What do you want to say?
I love food.
Besides food.
I love sex. What can I say? My wife is my wife. I enjoy her. You know, she enjoys me, and that's part of the marriage.
It's a stress reliever.
It's part of the marriage. You know, if you guys, you know, whoever is watching this video or whatever, you know, just work in that area, you'll be happy.
It's a stress reliever. It's kind of like a reset button.
Yeah, it's good. Other than food, I mean, it's delicious.
Food.
God knew what's good for us. Definitely.
Yeah, marriage, I think it's fun that you always have a partner. You just always have someone that you can be silly with and laugh, and that you always have someone rooting for you. I think that's the best thing, that if, you know, you come home that you're stressed about work, or, you know, or your kids are getting on your nerves because they're just being loud, you always have someone that can kind of relieve you from that. So I think apart from the sex and the food that this man loves, it's fun that you always have someone to do life with. Because your kids are going to grow up one day and they're going to leave you. They're going to have their own life. And so it's fun to know, and it's a good feeling to know that you have someone that you can do life with. I think that's something very beautiful.
Just give him another chance. Just give him another try. You know, it's I know there's some situations that there's no hope, but I believe there's always hope. You know, if you believe that, you know, you don't want to leave that place where you have been for, I don't know, 10, 15, whatever, give him another try. You know, God will never let you down, and God is not a God of, I'm going to forgive you. You know, God is always there to help you. And I know, you know, it's hard, it's tough. There's some situations that oh no, he's not in my shoes. Well, you know, God knew all that. You know, he knew all that, you know, and even though you might think you chose the wrong person, God is so merciful that wrong person that you think you chose, God will turn that person into the right person. That's what grace is, you know? When you choose somebody that doesn't deserve anything, and you turn it into somebody that deserves everything because of, you know, what God did. And don't give up. Don't give up. Do not give up. Give them another try.
I think the piece of advice that I would give someone who's on the verge of divorce is give yourself a self-evaluation. Because if you have frustrations with someone, most likely that person has their own frustrations with you. So I think it's a time to kind of, you know, yes, marriage, you can't do it alone, but I think it's a self-reflective time to say, okay, you know, what are areas that I have done wrong? And then take those and turn it around and pray for your spouse. And don't pray that God changes them. Pray that God does the work in you. Yeah. And marriage is a place that you have to be selfless. So again, do a self-evaluation, realize, be very, very honest with yourself, and say, what are the areas that I could have or I can do better? And I assure you that if you decide to not focus on the wrong things that your spouse is doing, and then go back and say, what actually made me fall in love, or think, not fall in love, but the decision that you made that this person was the person for you. So I feel like a lot of the times when we're on the verge of giving up, we focus so much on the things that the other person is doing wrong, and we're almost there waiting for them to fail. Like, we're on the defense, like, okay, what are you gonna do next that's gonna make me not be with you even more? So I think it's a very good time to self-reflect and work on your own flaws, and not do it alone again. So I think that that's something very important. You have to set your pride aside. As hard as it may seem, even though it seems like you're losing the battle, you're not losing if you decide to kind of lay your guard down and decide to work on your own issues. I assure you that it's not a battle that you're giving up or that you're losing. You will realize that you actually are doing yourself a good thing, and that you're actually heading towards the finish line. So I assure you that it'll work. It works.
I thought you were shy of the cameras, but you can give advice for sure.
It's marriage worth it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
100%.
I think I don't doubt that 1 second. I mean, a lot of the times I say, oh, if I could, I would have waited longer. Now, at the end of the day, I think I would want to go through all that we've gone through, and it's worth it.
Yeah.
I don't think I could picture my life not being married. So many good things have come and will continue to come of it. So I definitely think it's worth it, apart from the fights, the frustrations, the times that you're
fights.
like, Jesus, please, are you going to take this man, or should I? But, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it for all the good things and more. Even the things that know you about your spouse will, like, later on, you'll just learn, you'll be like, that is so silly, the reason why we fought, and you'll laugh about it.
Yeah.
And it's worth it because you learned so much. Like I said, we are not there. I don't think we're ever going to be there, but we'll definitely learn good lessons along the road, and we'll definitely be there to comfort each other and continue to grow together and grow old and watch you get more wrinkles on your face.
Yes.
Thank you.